What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the wrap-up review series where I review games that I finished. And in this episode, we're going to be reviewing all Kamen Rider Generation 2 for the Nintendo DS. Now, Rider Generation 2 is a game that came out... Rider Generation 2 is the sequel to of course, like Rider Generation 1, which came out August 4th last year, 2011. So we're pretty much looking at a full, nearly a full year's worth of time in between the games. So this game came out August 2nd this year. So yeah, so that's pretty much like a full year's worth of time since the last game came out. Kamen Rider Generation 2, with the storyline, it starts off with the main antagonist. Hold on, wait a minute, I gotta look this up. I should have did this before I started this recording, but yeah, I just want to make sure that I got the guy's name right. Yeah, here you go. I did get it wrong. So yeah, so the game is based on the antagonist Go Ura, who is the so-called sponsor to the last game's final boss, Judah. Like, he is a sponsor to his research. And Go Ura, he's the main boss to this game. And that's pretty much all I can tell you. He's trying to take over the world, supposedly. But yeah, so that's pretty much all I can tell you from the storyline, because this game was in Japanese, and obviously I'm speaking English. I'm American, so I don't really understand the language that well. So it was a language barrier there, but like, I had help, with the guide that will be putting like the link to underneath the video. So anybody else who may be, who may also be having, some issues with the, trying to understand like the missions and all those things and the dialogue, I will put that link to the guide underneath the video so you guys can have it. So yeah, there you go. So when you first start off the game asks you whether or not you want to play the game, and the game asks you whether or not you want to have the controls on child or adult. Now, this happened to me in the last game, and I didn't even realize it. When you play the game on child, from what I know, the game's special attacks, they come out at random. Now, obviously, that's not something that you want to happen when you want to, play this game effectively. So it's in your best interest to play the game on adult. That way you can have the special moves to come out that you want to come out, and not some random special that could possibly, yeah. But, yeah, so some of the major changes is like right off top, like you start off with Kamen Rider 4s and Kamen Rider Meteor, I believe that's their names, and you just work your way through the various worlds, and and you do the various missions that are on each of the levels to unlock, like the other Kamen Riders in the game. One of the things that, one of the main changes that you will notice off top, that this game has like 5 other character pages. On the last game, I believe like the maximum amount of Kamen Riders were 28. If you had used the password for Kamen Rider 4s, then that brings the total up to 29. In this game, the maximum Kamen Riders are 56. So we're talking about a 26 or 27, like a rider difference. So that's pretty good. Now on to the stages. In the last game, like all of the worlds were on this map, and like, which was very reminiscent to the Super Mario World 3. And what you would do is that on these world maps, like you would like play through each of these like stages to progress on. And on each of the stages, like it was a shop and things such as that. In this game, all of the worlds are in they are in these columns. And, oh man, like I apologize, like I've been sick today, so yeah. But yeah, like all the worlds are in these columns, and like after you beat all of the levels, I mean like all of the stages that are on that world, then you gain access to the new world, and it just moves on from there. Now there are like up to 2 more worlds like than the last game had. In the last game, like it was 5 worlds with like 5 stages each. In this game, in this game, it's up to 7. It's up to 7 worlds, and each of the worlds have 5 to 7 stages on them. So like that's a bit of improvements from the last game. All right, now like when you pick a level, I mean a stage to play on, like the one thing you're gonna notice is that like each of the stages have a mission on it, and these mission requirements can unlock various things like discounts in the shop, more money, like etc. And yeah, surprise, I'm back. My computer back up and running, and now I can do the other half of this video. So yeah, I know it looks kind of weird, me being on the light on the first half, and this part I'm kind of dark, but I'm sure y'all understand. My computer was messing up, so I didn't really have a chance to finish off this review. So now my computer's up and running again, I can do it. So yeah, off to where I left off. The missions are intertwined for their respective levels. Easy, normal, and hard all share the same mission. So that means if you beat that mission on easy, then you won't have to worry about playing it on hard, on normal or hard. Now, there are 2 additional difficulties that you can unlock that come with their own mission that are intertwined. That's dangerous and climax, and you unlock those by finishing up a certain amount of missions, that are intertwined with easy, normal, and hard. And like I mentioned before, like one of the biggest benefits from doing the missions are like not only do you get new Kamen riders and such, but you also get like bonus money, which you can use in the shops to unlock the other upgrades for the other Kamen riders that you're playing as. Now, unlike the last game, where depending on which Kamen rider you were playing as and the one that you picked as your ally, when you went to the shops, then like their upgrade item would be the only items in the shop. In this game, they basically gave you every Kamen rider's the upgrade already in the shop ready to buy. Which if you don't have any understanding of the Japanese language, then it would get kind of confusing. because like there are no pictures like there were in the last game, but you know, that's cool. Also in the shop, which you can access by pushing Y, by the way, there are some upgrades that you can buy to enhance the attack, defense, speed, and stamina, or which is the life of the Kamen Rider that you're using. Now, when you buy these upgrades, like they will only be used on the Kamen Rider that you're playing as, not your allies. So you need to keep that in mind when you're buying this. Like, if you want to, you know, add these power-ups to a Kamen Rider, and you think that that your ally is going to receive them somehow, then that's not the case. You have to make sure that you're playing as the Kamen Rider that you want to receive the upgrade. So that's another thing. So that's pretty much it for the stages. Another one of the major changes that they did was that every Kamen Rider has at least 3 specials. In the last game, you know, like some of them only had 2. And this is not including the special abilities, which most Kamen Rider have, but not all of them. All of them either got some new some new specials, or they had their special moves. Like, how can I say? Like changed a little bit. Yeah, you know, like altered, and like and now they pretty much look cooler because like they have more animation to them. You know, like in the last game, whereas like they would just strike in instantaneous pose. In this game, like they actually like move into place, which adds a little bit more like personality to each of the Kamen Riders. So that's pretty cool that they did that. Another thing that they added in this game, I believe you can do some wireless co-op in this game. Also, like I believe there's some versus mode in this game as well. I'm not 100% sure of that. Don't, you know, like don't quote me on it. But yeah, so on top of the other Kamen Riders that they added, you know, like they also added a few of the dark riders from the movies and the series. Like, for example, there's like Shadow Moon, who was in the last game, but in this game, like you can actually like play as him. Of course, after you do a certain amount of missions. There's Kamen Rider Eternal from Kamen Rider W Forever, the A to Z. And there's Punch Hopper, there's Kick Hopper, there's Oja, and there's Odin. And I believe that's it for the Dark Riders. But yeah, like there's a good bit of content in this game. Much more than what they had in the last game. So they did improve on it. Some of the things that I noticed that they did in this game was that the pop-ups, or the launchers, for a form of a better word, they don't keep the monsters in the air as much as they did in the last game. Normally, like when you do a launcher, how you do that is you press weak attack, and strong, and it will, and your Kamen Rider will knock the enemies into the air. And normally in the last game, you know, like they would stay more airborne. In this game, that's not the case. Like they have the gravity setting much higher than what they had in the last game, because you could barely follow them and do any air combos. So Yeah, that's one thing that has really changed in this game is the gravity setting. Something else that they changed was with Kamen Rider O's Orca, Eel, and Octopus form. In the last game, Kamen Rider O's his blue form had this infinite loop. Now, how this loop worked is that when you finished like doing your weak attack combos, you push strong attack and it would whip out this electrical tentacle and it would reset the stance of the enemies. And then you just continuously do that over and over again until the monsters were defeated. In this game, you know, like they kind of fixed that. And, you know, so that loop is gone. But, you know, but that was just like a little glitch or whatever that they fixed. So they were trying to, you know, like just like tighten up the loose ends. Just trying to tighten up the loose ends. While I'm speaking on the controls, I need to explain them. Okay, you have your weak attack, you have your strong attack, you have your guard, you have your special ability button, you have your jump, and you have your special attacks. Now, with the strong attack, like, it's really just one hit, and it really isn't meant to like stand by itself. You know what I mean? Like, what the strong attack is meant to do is to be mixed with the weak attacks in order to pull off some unique combos. As mentioned before, like if you push weak attack twice and then push strong, like it would do a launcher, which then you can hold down jump and your Kamen Rider would jump after him and you can just do a bunch of weak attacks and such. And you can perform like air combos. And if you push weak attack 3 times and then press strong, like there's this new stun attack that they added to the game, which paralyzes the enemies that get hit by it, you know, like for like 1 or 2 seconds, and you can continue to, you know, do additional hits to them, of course, causing more damage. There's guard, which of course blocks enemy attacks. Some enemy attacks can't be blocked, so keep that in mind. Some certain enemy attacks cannot be blocked. There's a special ability button. Now, also as mentioned before, not every Kamen Rider has a special ability. Some of them don't have them, but the majority of the Kamen Riders do. Now these can be anything from mode changes, for example, like with Kamen Rider 4s, O's, and W, or you know, like they could be special attacks like with Hibiki and Kamen Rider for Fayaz, or like it can affect the environment, you know, of course, like with Punch Hopper, Kick Hopper, and Kamen Rider Kabuto, etc. Some of them even have some ability changes, like with Kamen Rider Blade, and yeah, so each Kamen Rider, for the ones that do have special abilities, you know, like they have their respected abilities from their series or movie. So if you have watched Kamen Rider all the way through, like up until now, then you pretty much are going to understand the game a lot better than somebody who hasn't watched it, like myself. Like I didn't know about Kamen Rider Eternal until I watched the movie that he came from, and then it made more sense to me, and I understood the game a little bit more. You know what I mean? But that's really not needed in order for you to, you know, like really enjoy the game. What else is there? Oh yeah, the finishers. Now, there is this small circle meter that when you do damage to an enemy, it starts to fill up. When it fills up, you're able to perform that Kamen Rider's finishing move. Now, some Kamen Riders need their finishing moves bought out of the shop, but how you perform those finishing moves is that you hold guard, which is L, and then you press A, which is special attack, and they will perform. And every enemy, now even though in the actual cinematic, the Kamen Rider may only hit one monster, but it affects all the enemies on the screen. So all the enemies on the screen get hit. All the enemies that are on that, you know, stage at the current time get hit. And they all take the same amount of damage. So you don't have to worry about, you know, like you aim for the wrong one or you hit the wrong one or whatever like that. That's not the case at all. Now, a couple of the Kamen Riders have a secondary finishing move, which you do by pressing, well, by holding down L, B, and then you press A. Now, at first I didn't, you know, really understand how to get it off, but that's because my keyboard didn't allow me to push 3 keys at a time, so I had to trick the system, and I had to switch the configuration, you know, and I put A and B as the same key, you know, in order to activate it. So I did get it off, so yeah, that's pretty cool. So what do I think about the game overall? I think that the game is a, you know, big improvement from the last game with the amount of Kamen Riders, the Kamen Riders that they added. You know, they added Dark Riders, they added more stages. They moved the shop to its own independent location. That way it doesn't affect the stages. And that's one thing I appreciate. That way you ain't gotta worry about going through a shop just in order to get to the next stage. You know, it's just one straight run through that world. And yeah, the reward payout, you know, with the money and, you know, you unlocking the different levels and such, it's pretty cool, you know. And the higher difficulty level is, you know, the more money you will receive from playing through that stage. When you play through each of the stages, you know, like you just might run into a Kamen Rider. Sometimes you will, sometimes you won't. And then, you know, like then they give you 3 options. If you want to use that Kamen Rider, like if you want to replace that Kamen Rider with your current ally, or if you just want to like send them back to the roster, and then after you beat the stage, you know, that's when you'll unlock them. But they had that in the last game as well. So the animations, that's one thing that really impressed me, that they actually added more animations to what the Kamen Riders did. For example, like when the finishing move starts, like instead of them just striking some instantaneous pose, you know, they actually move into place. And not only that, but the finishing move had camera angles, and you'd be surprised what a couple camera angles would do, you know, to a finishing move. It really makes it, you know, more dynamic, I guess you can say. But you know, like it just makes the finishing move look that much more impressive, you know, with the right camera angles and all. So yeah, so what do I rate this game? I give it in all honesty, like I give this game a 7.9 out of 10. You know, like it's that fun to me. You know, like I'll just do like a solid 7 out of 10. You know, like I won't go to the point system. I think that's kind of weird to me. But yeah, 7 out of 10. I think it's an improvement from the last game, and if they keep this up, I'm expecting to see another rider generation coming next year. Like I can actually see it. Like if you you know, been paying attention to Kamen Riders, you know, even a little bit, then you know there's plenty of Kamen Riders that they didn't even add to the game. So from that alone, like I feel like they're gonna add, well, you know, like they're gonna, it's a possibility that they will make another one next year in August being released again. So yeah. Something else that I forgot to mention, that there's a secret Kamen Rider that you have to unlock using a password. Now, I put the password underneath the video on part 16, I believe. And, yeah, that password is to unlocking Kamen Rider Wizard, which is the latest Kamen Rider series that will be coming September 22nd, I believe, in Japan. And, you know, and he's a secret character, so it's pretty much like the same deal with the fours in the last game. He doesn't have any voiceovers, where you know, like he doesn't have any other character voiceovers. And he also like doesn't have any other special abilities or finishers. So yeah, like he's just pretty much put in there as a secret character in order to promote the series that's coming up. So yeah, that's pretty much it. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, that I will have the guide link posted underneath this video description, so you guys that are playing the game that may be confused as to what the missions are, you'll be able to, you know, understand what they are. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys for the next card review. The card review. I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Too much. I've been doing too many Yu-Gi-Oh! videos. But yeah, and I'll wrap this up, and I'll see you guys for the next wrap-up review series when Tokimei Sentai Gold Buster comes out and I finish it. So that's it. That's everything. And peace. See you guys later.